Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt. Welcome back to another video. Today we have a different type of content. We're going to be reviewing a gun today. Specifically, not just any gun. We're going to be reviewing a Honey Badger pistol. This is a legendary gun that has been piquing my attention for quite some time. If you know anything about the channel, you will know that this gun right here I've been ranting and raving about forever. Finally, I have one in my hands that I can review for you. First off, I want to explain a little bit about the history of the Honey Badger and how it came to be. So, this gun was originally developed at a company called AAC. And the original Honey Badger looked a lot different than this version, which is a pistol. The original version was designed to replace the MP5, which is a pretty legendary gun made by H&K, which is used by militaries and police all around the world, and still is to this day. Sadly, the Honey Badger never got around to replacing that gun, and I guess you could consider it a failure because it didn't actually do its intended purpose. But the guy who helped lead the project to develop the Honey Badger, whose name was Kevin, he decided that he would branch off into his own company called Q, which is the name that you will see all over this gun everywhere. I don't know why he called it Q, but that is the name he gave it, and started making them for the consumer market. Lucky for us. When Q started developing this gun, they made a couple different variations. They have an SBR version of this gun. They also have this pistol version, and there's also a SD version, I think it's called. It has a built-in suppressor already on it. So that is a little bit about the history of the Honey Badger. Let's start going over a few of the features of the gun, and I'm going to start with the pistol brace, which I mentioned a moment ago. This pistol brace is designed by a company called SB Tactical. They are a pretty well-known maker of pistol braces, and they specifically made this one for the Honey Badger. You will extend this by pressing this button right here and pulling it out, and this is the brace. Some of you might be thinking, now, Enforcer Matt, why are you calling that a pistol? Right now, as the video is being made, this is still classified as a pistol. And if you're wondering why it's called a brace, that is because there is a split right here on this, I'm not even sure what to call this end piece, I'm just going to call it the end piece. There's a split here, and there's also a strap. So, in theory, a disabled person can put this on their arm, and it helps them fire the gun a whole lot easier. There's a bunch of discussion about what the ATF is going to do in the coming months about the legality of this, and I will certainly be watching that to see what they rule about this whole system here. Let's move on to other features on the gun, and next up let's cover the charging handle, which you can see right here, and let me try to make sure I have that in frame properly. So this is a Radian Raptor charging handle, and as you can see down here, there is another Q. So it's custom branded for the manufacturer. Very nice charging handle, and is also color matched to the color of the receiver. I love the charging handle a lot. So let's close that. There we go. Moving on to the actual top of the gun itself, you'll see that there are Picatinny rails here, which allow you to mount a standard optic like I have here. I have an EOTech XPS2. Next up, let's move to the trigger. This is a Geissele 2-stage match trigger. Very crisp trigger, very nice. Geissele makes great stuff, and this is no exception. A really good compliment to the gun. There's really not much to say about that. I'd have to show you actually using it in action and shooting it, but sadly I can't because I'm in my backyard. Next up, we have the grip. This is a Magpul Mo K grip. So pretty standard grip, nothing special there. You can pretty much get these anywhere. But it is also gray, kind of matches the gray aesthetic going on here on the rails and everything. So looks pretty cool. It's also pretty nice grip, but like I said, nothing special. So moving on to the rails, you have your nice M-LOK rails here. This is a 6-inch rail system. Pretty nice, well finished in this nice gray color. And once again, you have your Picatinny rails along the top. Finally, moving to the last feature of the gun, you have the muzzle device. This Honey Badger is designed to be shot suppressed. So this muzzle device has a threaded part right down here at the bottom for a suppressor. It is also tapered, as well as you have all these small little holes in the top of the device itself. And that is actually intended to take the load off the suppressor a little bit. Suppressors usually take a pretty heavy beating when you're shooting with a suppressor onto a gun. So the cherry bomb, which is what this is called, is a lot cheaper to replace than an entire suppressor itself. And also another thing pretty cool on this is at the end there is a standard socket for you to actually just wrench this off or ratchet the thing off. I don't know what the correct term is for that. Now it is time to cover a few pros and cons of this gun. Starting with the pros. This thing looks just absolutely sick. This thing is well finished, well done on most parts of the gun, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. And it just overall looks like a piece of art. Another pro about the gun is it is super lightweight. This thing is 4 pounds, I believe. It feels almost like a toy. It doesn't feel like a real gun. When anybody ever picks this thing up, they're immediately shocked by the weight. That means the thing is super portable. You can put it in your truck, car, or whatever if you want to have some serious firepower with you while you're traveling around town. So another pro, kind of a pro and a con, is this gun shoots 300 blackout. So it has pretty good stopping power as a defense round. The only catch to it is 300 black has been very hard to come by. Also, you can shoot this supersonic or subsonic. Obviously, if you shoot this thing with a suppressor, you're going to want subs. If you're not shooting with a suppressor, I would definitely recommend using supersonics because I've heard this thing jams and malfunctions quite frequently if you don't have a suppressor on the end and you're shooting subs. Also, my final pro is this thing is super compact. So very short, not very long gun at all. You can see here, this thing is very small. Now, moving on to the cons, and there are a couple sort of minor gripes about the gun. The rail system, everything else is finished pretty good, but you'll notice up here on the very front that there are some splotches, and maybe you can see that in the camera, maybe you can't. There are some splotches in the finish. It kind of gets on my nerves a little bit when I'm looking at it. My eyes, for some reason, keep getting drawn to the little imperfections in the finish. But then again, it's a minor gripe. There's only a few places on the receiver that actually have that issue. But overall, it's pretty well finished, and the color is very unique. I've never seen this color anywhere else, and there's no way to really match this color from what I've heard from people that own the gun. The other downside is that, once again, like I mentioned earlier, when you put your face here on the cheek well, you are really biting into your face. Now, over time, if you're shooting this thing a lot, that might start to actually dig into your cheek. But then again, don't use it as a stock, folks. This is a brace. But anyways, that's my only negatives to the gun. I really can't think of any others. So yeah, that pretty much covers all the pros and cons. I hope you've enjoyed the review. If you have any questions for me, I have done a pretty good bit of research on the gun. Maybe I can answer your question down in the comments below. So I hope this review has been enjoyable for you. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more updates on international events or more things like the gun reviews that we're starting to do. This has been Enforcer Matt. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.